Hello everyone, I'm going to show you an easy to play build for the DLC that can take out most bosses in the DLC, if not all of them, aka the Finger Sorcerer. We'll be using Finger Sorceries, which are sorceries you get from doing the Ymir questline after sounding the first, second bells. You can start to purchase them from Ymir. So you can get this pretty early in the DLC if you want to just make the run. You actually can get a decent amount of these without fighting a single boss in the DLC. However, in order to get all the items here, you will need to complete the whole quest line, which is going to require you to kill 2 bosses. But I'll have a video link in the description below that'll be a little bit of a walkthrough of the quest line. So the build relies on spamming Fleeting Microcosm and Glintstone Nails. Fleeting Microcosm does a decent amount of damage on the windup and the explosion, so you're going to need the target to stay near it to get the full damage. This ability staggers most enemies or knocks them to the ground if they get hit by the explosion, making it a fantastic way to deal with just regular normal enemies. And then it will also stagger bosses after casting it a few times. It doesn't have an insane amount of stagger damage, but it will stagger most bosses at least once during the fights. You can also utilize the Glintstone Nails with this build, so once you finish the quest line, you'll be able to pick up Cherishing Fingers, which is another solid close range ability if things getting close to you. And then in addition to the Glintstone Nails, I take Glintstone Ice Crag as a backup if the boss is super mobile, as it does Frostbite, which increases how much damage it takes, while you're also doing a decent chunk of damage. So when you combine that with Glintstone Nails, it makes for a nice little combo. You can proc the Glintstone Ice Crag until it procs, and then you can start spamming Glintstone Nails, and you'll have a 20% damage increase from that. You get a Glintstone Ice Crag from Soluvis in Soluvis' Rise behind Karya Manor. So as you can see in this fight here with the Mesmer, the general playstyle is going to be when it's stuck in an animation is when you're going to want to try to use Fleeting Microcosm. And then if it's running around, maybe it's chaining attacks on you or it's chaining attacks on your summon, that's when you're going to want to actually use Glintstone Nails. Keep in mind when you're in the DLC, you are going to need to make sure that you don't just start spamming too much, because if the boss is aggroed onto you, you need to make sure you pick and choose your openings. Otherwise, you'll just get hit while trying to spellcast, and it's just not going to be a good time. You can see the Mesmer is just perma-targeting me, so it makes it a little bit hard to find openings. But as long as you're patient, the opening will come. The key thing is patience when you're doing sorceries in the DLC. So your stats are going to look something like this. You have 40 Vigor, 24 Mind, 20 Endurance, no increase to Strength, no increase to Dexterity, Intelligence 53, Faith 25, Arcane 53. Now you don't have to go 25 Faith if you don't want to. I do this just so I can run Golden Vow, as it's a nice damage increase and it's also a nice damage negation increase, so I think it's worth it personally. But you can alternatively take the points out of this, put more points into Intelligence, Arcane, Endurance, or Mind, whichever one that you want. And keep in mind, our staff we are using scales with Arcane and Intelligence. That is why we are pumping both of those up, and you typically want to keep both of those up in tandem. A quick little trick you can do here as well is if you want to run Terra Magica, you can. Just keep in mind that it's a little bit harder to use just because you have to stand still in order to do it, but it is a useful little tech if you are fighting a slow boss to get some extra damage. Alright, so for our staff, we're going to use the Maternal Staff. You get this for completing the Ymir questline. Alternatively, you can use the Carrion Regal Scepter you get off of Alana, or you can use the Albernetic Staff that you get in Mount Gelmer just by doing a little bit of a run. Your choice. I would imagine the Carrion Regal Scepter is probably going to be the ones that most people have. Keep in mind, you need like 55 or 60 int for that. So make sure that you pump up your int first before Arcane if that's the one you want to use. And then if you really just don't care about min-maxing damage, you could just use whatever the best staff is you have up until you complete the quest line. For armor, there's a couple options. So you're going to want to go the Finger Robe. Now you get this from completing the Ymir quest line. It drops off of Count Ymir and it's part of the High Priest set. Then you have to go to your Grace and you have to alter the garment to get it to look like the Finger Robe. But once you do, it'll give you the version that will change it to the version that actually gives you a 8% increase to finger sorcery damage. After that, I like to use the Witch's Glintstone Crown. You get this from doing the Sorceress Selling questline at the very end. This gives you an increase to Int and an increase to Arcane at the cost of 20% stamina reduction. Alternatively, you can also just wear the Rakshasa set with this and that will give you an additional 2% attack power per piece, but it will increase your damage taken. So you can actually wear a couple pieces of the Rakshasa set with the Finger Robe if you're really trying to like min-max the attack power. So to get the Rakshasa set, you just have to go down into the river to the Eastern Nameless Mausoleum, kill the Rakshasa boss, and it'll drop the whole set. For talismans, you're going to want to get the Graven Mask Talisman. You can get the lesser version in Raya Lucaria Academy, or if you go to the Consecrated Snowfield, you can go to the Albernix Rise, do the little puzzle there. You have to make sure you have the Fanged Imp Ashes, and you have to make sure that the the Imp at that tower gets the last hit, and it'll unlock the tower for you to get that. Then you are going to want Radagon's Icon. You get this out of Raya Lucaria Academy. This is going to give you an increase to your casting speed. You're going to want to use this one whenever you're not fighting the harder bosses. When you are fighting the harder bosses, because the other option I'm going to say is to get Beloved Stardust that you're going to get after you ring the first bell for the Ymir quest line, but it increases your damage taken by a lot, but it gives you a pretty large amount of spellcasting speed. It's really good on bosses that are not super hard or ones you've gotten really good at dodging, but if you're in like the learning stages of a boss, I recommend just going the Radagon's Icon, because then you won't have to deal with taking all that extra damage. After that, I like the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman or the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. You get the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman over by the Drainage Channel Site of Grace in the Halic Tree, and then you get the lesser version behind the Beast Sanctum. You have to go and do a little bit of a drop down to get that, but you can find a 10% version there for that. That's going to really help you out, because since you're a caster and you'll be wearing some robes, having some damage reduction is just really good. Especially in the DLC in general, like just having any sort of damage reduction is going to be really nice, especially before you have all of your Shadow Tree blessings. Like the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman is just such a night and day difference between when you start and stop using it. And then lastly, I like the Magic Scorpion Charm. You get this from doing Saluvis's questline over behind the Caria Manor. And what this is going to do is give you a 12% magic damage increase at the price of making you take a little bit more damage, so which makes the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman even better when you think about you're taking a bunch of extra damage from your Beloved Stardust, your Rakshasa set, and your Magic Scorpion Charm if you have all three of them on. Alright, so now after that we're going to want the Magic Shrouded Cracked Tear. That's going to give us a 20% damage boost to our magic damage for 3 minutes when put into our flask. Then we're going to want the Opaline Hard Tear. This is going to give us a 15% damage negation when put in our flask. You get the Magic Shrouded Tear in the Northeast Erdtree. You just have to kill one of those Erdtree avatars, and it'll actually give you like 3 different ones. It gives you like the Magic, Holy, and Lightning, I think. Up at that one, it's in Lernia pretty early on. And then the Opaline Hard Tear, just from the Fort Feroth side of Grace, there is going to be an Erdtree avatar that you can actually see. Just go run down behind. There's a little spirit spring you can drop down on, kill that Erdtree avatar, and you'll have the Opaline Hard Tear. Alright, now as a last thing, I'm going to teach you guys how to take the damage a little bit further. So in order to do this, you're going to want to have at least 33 faith. So you're going to go 25 faith so you can get the Golden Vow. That's going to give you another attack power boost and a damage reduction boost. Then after that, you are going to want to get Howl of Shabriri. This is going to give you a 25% damage boost at the cost of 30% damage taken. You're going to want to proc that enough times to proc Madness on yourself, because you're also going to want to have the Black Dumpling Helm. This is going to give you a 10% attack power boost whenever you proc Madness on yourself. That lasts for about 60 seconds. It's pretty solid. And it's a pretty nice tool. So if you really want to get like an extra 35 to 50% damage from incantations and stuff like that, that's how you can do it. That would be my recommendation. In order to get Golden Vow, it's at the Corpse Stench Shack in Mount Gelmer. Howl of Shabriri, if you go to that Frenzy Flamed Village, it's over by the Lift of Dectus, you'll see this like tower that looks like an Eye of Sauron that you have to run past to get to it. It's in that tower, actually. It's on like the 2nd floor of that tower. And then to get the Black Dumpling Helmet, you just need to go to Volcano Manor and kill the Albernix, the dudes that like spit on you and it's like spit their white goo and stuff on you and like try to give you hugs. You just kill those over and over again until they drop it, but that's how you can get that. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you find this build fun. It's definitely been one of the stronger sorcery builds. I know sorceries unfortunately have been having kind of a harder time in the DLC, I feel like, comparatively to in the base game just because of the rampant attack patterns. It just makes it harder to find opportunities to hit people, but there are some good sorceries that are still good. You know, Impenetrable Thorns obviously being really good. I think the Finger Sorceries are also pretty solid. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys would rather have me show you guys the exact location and make the video longer, or if you're okay with me just telling you guys kind of where they're at and then you guys being able to go off and kind of find them yourselves. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm still trying to figure out, you know, what the best balance is between, you know, like putting in item locations versus, like, you know, how much do people actually want to know, because I've released videos that are like 30 minutes long where I put them all in and they don't do as well as videos that are only 8 minutes long. So I'm still trying to figure out which one is preferred. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.